I want to fight Ilia, whenever, wherever. I'd love to come to Bernabeu and punch your face in. You know what I mean? Do it in Spain, in front of your fake countrymen, because you're really German. You know what I mean? I'd love to come and punch your face in front of 90,000 people in the Bernabeu. In enemy territory for me, because the Bernabeu is a shithole.
What?
What happened? Go
The
on.
UFC is planning for Ilia Topuria to headline its first Paramount card versus Justin Gaethje. That's the plan as of now.
You're lying right now.
That would mean Pimlet versus Holloway, which actually would fix a lot of the weird order of things.
Ilia Topuria is making the news again, but this time not because of fight news. Rumors have been circulating that he's broken up with his wife. The news immediately ignited in all corners of the MMA universe as fans swarmed social media in shock. But the most shocking thing of all is what Ilia did in response. Rather than slipping away, he went boldly online threatening that no one is safe. That messages everyone saying the same thing. A heartbroken, furious Topuria may be the worst version yet, and that's not good news for anyone facing him next. A fired up and emotional Topuria can be a total terror in the cage. So, who's next for the rampaging Ilia Topuria? Early rumors pointed towards Arman Tsarukyan, a fight fans would have loved to see. But Dana White recently put an end to that notion by making the announcement that Arman will be competing against Dan Hooker at UFC Qatar in November.
First time, we are headed to Doha, Qatar. November 22nd at the ABHA Arena. And the main event will be the number 2 ranked lightweight contender Arman Tsarukyan taking on number 6 ranked Dan Hooker. Co-main event is going to be former champ and number 1 ranked contender Bilal Muhammad taking on the number 6 ranked Ian Gary. So there you have it. November 22nd at the ABHA Arena in Doha, Qatar. Our first time ever there. I'll be there. I'll see you there.
Dana White did make one thing worth noting, however. He did confirm that Tsarukyan versus Hooker fight would be a number 1 contender bout. So whoever wins that one will be getting the next title shot. It's a great opportunity and makes way for Ilia's next step.
Dana, earlier this week, you scheduled Arman Tsarukyan to fight Dan Hooker in November.
Yeah.
And will the winner of that fight become the number 1 contender in the lightweight division?
Will the number of that? Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you, Dana.
You're welcome.
Now, the spotlight is turned to 2 giant names, Paddy Pimblett and Justin Gaethje. Paddy has been barking his orders at Ilia for months, genuinely interested in getting that matchup. He stated in public that fighting Topuria at the Santiago Bernabeu in Spain would be a dream come true. Having 2 fan-favorite characters go head-to-head in one of the most legendary stages of football is too good to be true. And for the UFC, it would be a worldwide event waiting to blow.
I want to fight Ilia, whenever, wherever. I'd love to come to Bernabeu and punch your face in. You know what I mean? Do it in Spain, in front of your fake countrymen, because you're really German. You know what I mean? I'd love to come and punch your face in front of 90,000 people in the Bernabeu. In enemy territory for me, because the Bernabeu is a shithole.
Kamaru Usman and Henry Cejudo both expressed unbridled enthusiasm about a battle between Ilia and Paddy. Cejudo explained that the stylistic contrast and personality clash would turn it into a blockbuster, while Usman contributed that the European fan base would lose their minds for it.
He mentioned Dustin, he mentioned Gaethje, he mentioned Arman, but the fight that would really make sense. Can I get a drum roll? Ilia Topuria. These guys had beef back in the day. The storyline is there, bro. They're both stars in the UFC. If I'm the UFC, I'm booking Justin Gaethje versus Islam, and then I think you do Ilia Topuria on that fight. Whoever comes out up top gets the next title shot.
You're absolutely right, Henry. If the UFC just like, hey, you know what, let's make the biggest fight we can in that division, because Paddy the Baddy is up there as far as fame right now in that division.
Michael Bisping also supported the notion, claiming the UFC would be stupid to overlook it. He feels a bout between Ilia and Paddy would produce huge figures. Bisping labeled it the perfect fight between a technician and a showman, and in his opinion, despite Ilia likely being the overwhelming favorite, Paddy's personality and popularity base might turn it into one of the biggest events of the year.
That certainly hasn't become a champion, but still he's a threat to anybody, okay? And for the UFC as well, if you think about it, right now you've got Paddy Pimblett, who's ridiculously popular, who's saying all the right things, by the way, when it comes to Ilia. He's saying that he wants to hurt him. We'll get to that in a minute. But Paddy's star is massive, okay? You want to capitalize on that right now. And and you would have put him against Ilia Topuria. Ilia Topuria, by the way, is the most followed fighter, current fighter on the UFC roster. The man is an absolute superstar in knockout power. He's got the submissions, the wrestling, he's got everything, okay? And you put him against Paddy Pimblett, I'm telling you, that will do ridiculous blockbuster numbers. So
Justin Gaethje, though, wasn't too happy about all the Paddy chatter. He stepped up and claimed that he deserves the fight more than anybody else. Gaethje took a trip down memory lane and reminded everyone about the battles he's endured and how much he's contributed to the UFC in its darkest days. He feels that if there's a high payoff fight to be had with Topuria, he's the one who's deserving.
Yeah, I mean, that's the fight that I want. You know, obviously I'm biased. I'm going to fight for what I feel like I deserve. But he feels the same. She feels the same. We're all biased towards ourselves. It's me or Armin. I believe somebody has to fight him this year, and I think I'm in a better spot than Armin, so someone's gonna fight him. I hope it's MSG, New York City. I get to fight him, and then I get to defend it on the White House lawn. That's what I'm planning for.
It looks like Gaethje's dream may actually be on the way. Spanish MMA analyst Alvaro Colmenero recently broke that the UFC is set to make Justin Gaethje versus Ilia Topuria the first big show under the new deal with Paramount in January. And what better way is there than by having Ilia defend his pride against one of the most aggressive fighters in the history of modern MMA? Mighty Mouse was the first to respond to the possible bout and did not wait to provide his prediction. He predicted that Ilia Topuria would most probably secure a comfortable knockout victory over Justin Gaethje. In his opinion, Justin's fighting style is walking into Ilia's trap and disaster may be the result. Mighty Mouse cautioned that Justin Gaethje's willingness to roll the dice could get him burned severely by someone as precise and powerful as Ilia Topuria. His opinion became an instant sensation, fanning the flames of heated discussion among fans.
What?
What happened? Go
The
on.
UFC is planning for Ilia Topuria to headline its first Paramount card versus Justin Gaethje. That's the plan as of now.
You're lying right now.
That would mean Pimblett versus Holloway, which actually would fix a lot of the weird order of things.
Why Justin Gaethje?
You saw that as well, Nick? Gaethje said he would retire if he didn't get a title shot.
Well, if we're gonna go at that, I got Ilia Topuria knocking him out.
Yeah, same here.
I just feel after you've been dropped so much and you're gonna fight somebody who's a deadly striker, great wrestler, who has a chin, who's willing to put himself in the fire to land that shot, and not just the shot to the face. Let's not forget about Ilia Topuria's body work as well.
MMA Guru had similar views as well, opining that the fight is a sure win for Ilia, though he said he admits it is slightly disappointing. As per him, the initial Paramount card should have been Ilia versus Paddy, not Ilia versus Gaethje. Guru believed that the UFC lost out on the chance to have a cultural moment with that fight, and he claimed that although Justin is a better fighter, Paddy versus Ilia would have been an incredibly more exciting show for fans globally.
We've been left with no other choice but this. It's this or giving Paddy Pimblett the title shot, and Gaethje's ranked higher than Pimblett, and to be honest, Gaethje's more deserving of a title shot than Pimblett. It's unfortunate. I think Pimblett would be a bigger fight. I think that would be something where you could say, okay, well, at least it's silly, but this is a blockbuster pay-per-view event. But I think this is a bad standard. First of all, I think Ilia Topuria is going to absolutely destroy Justin Gaethje, and you know what? He might be going out there with some vicious intentions because there's rumors that Ilia Topuria and his wife just broke up. So there's going to be some extra spice on those shots that he's throwing at Justin Gaethje.
Guru went further, voicing discontent with the direction of the UFC. He stated that reserving this bout sends a negative message regarding title fight levels. To him, Gaethje receiving the bout after recent losses does not make sense from the standpoint of rankings. Guru feels that the company should have held onto the more creative and fan-appreciated choice in Paddy versus Ilia.
I don't like this. I don't like what this says for the rest. This tells me that fighters can get into the top 5 and sit there until their turn comes around and the UFC has no other choice. You should have had to have fought once in the past year at least, and you should have had to have beaten a top 5 opponent in that year. If you're going to fight at the end of 2025, I need to see another fight from you in 2025 against a top 5 opponent that you won. I would ask for a 2-fight win streak. I'm giving you a bare minimum here. We have to start setting a standard, or championship bouts are going to get watered down completely.
Chael Sonnen hit the scales next and brought some balance to the debate. He stated that though the Paddy fight would have been all entertainment, Justin has really earned his place. Sonnen reminded everyone that Gaethje went out of his way for the UFC several times when they needed him the most. This fight, in Chael's opinion, is sensible from a competitive standpoint, even if it's not the most glamorous choice on paper.
I had a concern for Justin Gaethje, which is he had made a statement where he had dug in. And at one point along the way, he said, give me a title fight or give me a release, right? Title fight or bust. And it made me nervous when he said it. It made me nervous just because I cannot recall a time that strategy has worked. But if there's anyone that would have the right to feel that way, I mean, Justin Gaethje's done some very heavy lifting, not to mention his very last fight. Just to remind you, he was an underdog. And just to remind you, it was a rematch that he'd already won. Nobody wants to do that. And just to remind you, it was short notice.
Sonnen also mentioned that the quiet lately from Paddy Pimblett could be another huge indication. Paddy, normally very outspoken on social media, has kept quiet of late. Chael posited that this might be an indication that the UFC has already let go of the concept of Ilia versus Paddy, at least in the short term. He intimated that perhaps everything in the background was already decided and all indications were that Gaethje would be the one to get the call. As ever, Sonnen's observation had people guessing even more.
Very good at media and understands the importance of the manipulation of media. When that fighter goes quiet, that usually means he doesn't still have something to fight for. He doesn't still have a game that he's playing. He's reached resolution. Well, at the same time, that Sarukian and Hooker can be a #1 contenders fight. At the same time that Ilia could be fighting Gaethje for the title.
Ilia Topuria himself broke his silence over the rumors. He stated he's not opposed to a bout with Justin Gaethje, but everyone already knows the outcome. His tone was adamant in showing that he considers this fight another opportunity to demonstrate his superiority. Ilia claimed that regardless of whom the UFC brings in front of him, the outcome will be the same. And thus, the Matador gave one last message: the hunt is far from over.
I fought with Max. He knocked out Justin Gaethje. I fought with Charles Oliveira. He submit Justin. So that everyone is gonna be like, they're gonna know the result even before the fight.
He's gonna be a huge underdog.
Yeah, he's gonna be a huge underdog, and everyone's gonna know what's gonna happen. In the fight game, everything can happen, but it's like,
yeah,
bro, come on.
Whatever the opponent is, be it Gaethje or Pimblett, one thing is for sure: someone's going to get the fury of a heartbroken champion. Stay tuned in and hit subscribe, because when Topuria returns to that cage, the storm he unleashes won't leave anyone behind.